What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. First and foremost, I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas and a great holiday. We're back here on Madden 25 here for another rebuild. As today we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals, who were just eliminated over the weekend from playoff contention due to losing to the Carolina Panthers. And with them being eliminated from playoff contention, it had some people talking about the idea of Kyler Murray maybe being done as a quarterback in Arizona. And I'm not going to lie, I could also see that being the case as well. So let's go ahead, jump in and talk about it, and let's do a trading Kyler Murray Arizona Cardinals rebuild in Madden 25. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you're new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciate it. When it comes to Kyler Murray, obviously he is a solid quarterback, but Arizona just has not been successful lately. The year that they did make the playoffs, as we all remember, with Cliff Kingsbury, the team was really bad in the playoffs. The Rams, ironically enough, where they're playing this week, actually just killed them on Monday Night Football, if I remember correctly. It wasn't even close. It was a really bad game. I'm pretty sure Kyler threw like a really bad pick six in the end zone. Something along the lines of that. Marvin Harrison hasn't been that great for the Cardinals this season. Not even sure why he still has hidden dev. I mean, when I say he hasn't been great, it's just there was a lot more expected out of Marvin Harrison. It's not saying he's having like a horrendous season or anything, but you're just not getting all that you bargained for, in my opinion. Obviously, especially in fantasy football, he was one of the top rookie wide receivers to go on top of the board because of his ceiling being that high. Although fantasy in real life isn't the same, don't get me wrong, but still not the production you want to see. So it would not shock me at all, just based off how this team has performed and where they're headed, that if Kyler Murray was done in Arizona after this season. The fact that you're one of the best tight ends in the NFL, in my opinion, Trey McBride, hasn't got a single receiving touchdown this season is insanity. It's just insane. You have Budda Baker, Xavier Collins, Wilson, Jalen Thompson. Like, there is some solid pieces overall on this team, but obviously it's not all Kyler Murray's fault. There's still a lot that needs fixed with this roster. With that all being said, with all the quarterbacks that are going to be available this offseason, which is going to be very slim, as we all know, there are going to be like 2 quarterbacks to draft, maybe 3. That's pushing it. And then obviously you're going to have Sam Darnold and Justin Fields in free agency. It would not shock me at all if some team was willing to trade for Kyler Murray just based off wanting to find a new quarterback, and there's not a ton of options in free agency. Wouldn't the Cardinals be willing to move on from Kyler Murray? I guess we'll find out in real life, but in this video, we're going to make that happen. So I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1 to go ahead and trade Kyler Murray, and I kind of have an idea of a team that he could go to. So at the end of the season, we finished up at 7-10. We're about to enter this offseason with $122 million in cap space. The Vikings beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl, which is interesting. The Christmas Day games, by the way, were absolutely horrendous. They sucked so badly. We watched 4 playoff teams, and they were both just terrible blowouts. Weren't even competitive at all. Really sucked, but offensively, we were 15th in defense. We were 14th in NFL. So Kyler Murray, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Nothing too crazy, obviously. James Conner, who had a really good season with 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Trey McBride, like I said, 0 receiving touchdowns is insane, to be honest with you. And he's one of the better tight ends in the league, in my opinion, right now. Marvin Harrison, 8 touchdowns, 818 yards. And defensively, sacks-wise, you had 5 from Xavier Collins, 4.5 from Dante Stosa, and 3.5 from LJ Collier. So let's go ahead and get straight into the re-signing stage. We'll re-sign our players, and then we'll immediately trade Kyler Murray. Like I said, I have a couple teams in mind, but one specifically. Budda Baker is a superstar X-Factor free agent, and I do think I have interest in bringing him back. I could be totally wrong. I could be bugging about this, but did Arizona just extend him in real life, or am I crazy? Don't remember exactly, but I'm going to keep him regardless because I can't just let a superstar X-Factor walk in free agency. Even if we don't plan on keeping him for the future, you can't let him go for nothing. So that was not going to happen. I would love to keep Baron Browning too, just to, kind of have another linebacker, but wouldn't shock me at all with his interest being 0. No, he's going to come back. So get Baron Browning to come back as well. Zay Jones we can let go. Will Hernandez at 29 right guard. Probably let him go. Gray Dortch, Gardeck we can let go. Chris Barnes, we can get him. I guess we can sign Kazir White and Chris Barnes maybe. So Mac Wilson, our other middle linebacker at 27. So we'll resign Chris Barnes, and then we'll resign there's Evan Brown we can get to. He's only 28 years old. Even if we replace him with a new starter, at least he's depth. So that gives about $84 million in cap space to work with. We'll probably let the rest of these guys go. Probably going to go ahead and let Kazir White go as well. So just go ahead and get into day 1 of free agency, where we will trade Kyler Murray. And I kind of have, I don't think he's going to be worth a first-round pick at this point, but I do think you can get maybe a second or a third for Kyler Murray, no problem, and maybe another pick on top of that. So let's go ahead and trade Kyler Murray. And in fact, I might even look at the trade offers that I get in the trade finders, but we're going to make the right trade for Kyler Murray here. So here are the offers we are getting for Kyler Murray. But obviously, if we're going to trade Kyler Murray, we need to make sure he's going to a team that needs a quarterback. And out of all these options, like Tennessee, I guess makes sense as well. But the one team I think makes a ton of sense for Kyler Murray's services is going to be, drum roll please, is the Las Vegas Raiders. In my opinion, I think Kyler Murray can make some sense over there. I'm hoping we can make this work salary-wise, but obviously they're not going to trade our their third overall pick to do it. They may get back to third overall, but the reason why I also think this is because obviously, if as we all know, the Raiders won a game over the weekend, which dropped them to the 6th overall pick, which may put them out of reach for Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. And I don't think you can go into next season starting Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Obviously, they can maybe sign Justin Fields. Maybe they could throw back Sam Darnold, which I wouldn't do. But I think, maybe giving up like a third or a second for Kyler Murray, maybe give up 2/3 for Kyler Murray, something along the lines of that, I don't think is terrible. So let's see if they're able to do this. So Kyler Murray over to the Raiders for 2 third-round picks in this draft. Is that enough? Should Kyler Murray be worth more? Maybe we can get a young player out of them potentially as well. It is a quarterback we're talking about. So I don't know if there's any like obvious young player we can go after. Obviously not Brock Bowers. That's not happening. Colton Miller, nothing on the offensive line. Probably not. Is there any like defensive player? Obviously not getting Crosby. Tyree Wilson. I guess Tyree Wilson hasn't really worked out for the Raiders. Would they trade him? Maybe. That's something you could maybe think about. So I guess I can try to get Tyree Wilson as well, see if they'll do that. So a young player, 2 third-rounders for Kyler Murray. I think we do this, and that is kind of my idea. So Kyler Murray is going to the Raiders. If you guys want to see me do a Kyler Murray Raiders rebuild as well, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. But just like that, we have traded Kyler Murray away, and we're resetting things. Obviously, we're going to have to draft a quarterback now or sign one in free agency because we can't go into season starting Clayton Tune. But overall, like I said, and Marvin Harrison is now up to Superstar X Factor, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and get straight into free agency, and let's start, trying to build this team back up. I think there's some solid pieces here, but overall, a lot of work still to do, obviously. So here are the 4 offers we're making in free agency, and you could probably notice a trend here. We're going after like 25, 26-year-olds because I don't think we're going to be even close to competing for the playoffs this next season if I had to guess. But if we can get some guys that can be here long-term to start to build something up, I think that's the most ideal position to be in. So we're going to see if we can get Ernest Jones, Tutu Atwell, Jedrick Willis, and AJ all here in free agency to start things off. And hopefully we get all 4. We do get 3, so we do not get Ernest Jones, unfortunately, which would have been really nice to snag. But still getting Atwell, Jedrick Willis, and AJ feels still pretty solid. But I think that might be all we do here in free agency for the most part. We could get Kendricks, who's 33, but I don't think it makes sense in this roster. We could go grab Jack Gibbons as well, who's young enough that I think he could maybe be a starter for this year and maybe grows into something else. So we'll go ahead and offer Jack Gibbons as a different plan aside from Ernest Jones, who decided to go to the Packers. Can't blame him there. And we do get Gibbons. So that's going to be our next pick done. We'll have 2 third-rounders in this draft. And, of course, Tyree Wilson also out of the team. Kyler Murray goes to the Raiders. Let's go ahead and see. In the first round, we'll draft a quarterback. I don't know what we'll be picking, but I guess we're probably going to be in the position to draft Jalen Milroe if I had to guess. So we'll probably give that a chance. I don't think in real life. In Madden, the 2 quarterbacks might fall to us, Shedeur and Cam Ward. They might fall to us because I don't know. In this draft class, they don't get picked very high. But in real life, obviously, I think they're going to go 1 or top 3 or whatever just because there's teams that need quarterbacks, obviously. So let's see how this goes. So we got Will Johnson going to the Raiders. Okay. The Giants don't even draft a quarterback. So far, Cam Ward's still on the board. But like I said, he's going to go in the top 4. And the Titans actually took Quinn Ewer. So we're going to pretend that Cam Ward is not here because he's not going to be here in real life, of course. So let's see what other talent there is. So I do think Jalen Milroe is more of a realistic possibility. And we do need a quarterback going forward, obviously. So I am going to go ahead and take Jalen Milroe with this pick and give ourselves a quarterback. Is he worth the first? I'm not 100% sure about that. But I know he gives us a chance at being, giving some stability at the quarterback position going forward. So welcome to Arizona, Jalen Milroe. Even if he doesn't work out, which would suck because you spent a first-round pick on him. I'm fine with the pick, so we're fine with that. And now there's no like specific position we're after here, honestly. Just kind of looking at whatever talent's available to us. So we could take a running back. Obviously, there's some good running backs on the board. We also have another corner. There's actually some really good running backs on the board. So, but we have Trey Benson and James Conner, so I'm not going to do that. Although there's some talented ones here, not going to lie. We do have another tight end, which we don't need. Another wide receiver. We just signed Tutu Atwell, which I'm fine with. We can get Rod Moore, Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart doesn't sound too shabby here. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Shamar Stewart with this second round pick to give ourselves another end. So he's going to be hitting Dev. Very happy to have him here in Arizona. And now we can go with our 2 third round. Actually, this will be 3 third rounders, right? So 3 third rounders is going to be very useful. This is going to be a very early one, which is nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do here. So we have, let's see. So we have Everett on the board out of Georgia. We have another guard. We have another corner. That's out of Kansas. Another tackle, linebackers, which we don't necessarily need anymore. Donovan Edwards out of Michigan. But I do like the idea of maybe taking Everett here with this pick. So we're going to take Dylan Everett here. Give ourselves another corner outside of Sean Murphy-Bunting. So that's going to be our first third round pick. Going to be normal dev, but I still think that feels like a solid pick to start things off. And we'll make these other 2 third round picks, and then we'll call it good here. So Kobe Bryant goes after to the Browns. And then we got, let's see. So Will Howard, I guess at Ohio State we could have taken here, but again, I'm fine with what we took. So Rod Moore as a free safety. I've seen him on the board earlier, and I was kind of tempted to take him earlier, but I don't know. Do we want him? B man coverage, B awareness. Give ourselves some depth of the free safety position. We'll go ahead and do that. So number 44 in true value. Only normal dev, but he was on the board in the 2nd round, so I'm happy with taking him here in with the 3rd round. And then for our last pick here, again, I don't really have like 100% a plan here. I know we're not going to make the playoffs next year. So at this point, I'm just simply trying to get as much talent as possible. It doesn't really matter what position. Ferguson out of Oregon. We could take another guard, another middle linebacker. Mondin out of Georgia. Luke Lachey out of Iowa. Or Lachey, I think is actually how you say it. And there's Restrepo. Okay. There's some solid players here. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and take Logan Parr here, who I don't think should be on the board anymore. So we're going to go ahead and take him. And that's going to be, never mind. I was totally wrong. Only normal dev. But his grades looked solid. Maybe not the best overall draft, but you know what? I'm happy with the offseason for the most part. We gave ourselves a quarterback going forward. We got Tyree Wilson, who may not ever become anything for us, but hopefully, maybe he could do something. We'll find out. Give him a new system, and we'll just kind of see what the team looks like going into season number 2 with Kyler Murray officially gone. So here's the lineup going into season number 2. You're going to have Jalen Burrow under center with James Conner and Trey Benson. Low key, I didn't really take into account how bad James Conner overall here is in Madden. Low key kind of regret not taking one of those running backs when we had a chance to, but what can you do now? Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, Jedrick Willis, Adams, Froholt, Brown, and Paris Johnson as your line. And defensively, you have Jalen Thompson, Baron Brown, and Gibbons, Wilson, Zaven Collins. You have Ojulari here as well. Tyree Wilson is depth 2. Buda Baker, Everett, who was our 2nd round pick, who's going to start our cornerback 2 immediately. Shamar Stewart. It looks like they drafted us Ritzy as well. Should have drafted a D tackle, but they got us one. I don't know if he'll be a long-term option, but he's here anyway. So we'll go ahead and simulate year number 2. Like I said, expectations are very slim here. I don't expect to be a playoff team, but I do think we've added some solid pieces. Hopefully they can develop into the system, and we can continue to build this roster back up around Jalen Burrow with Kyler Murray obviously officially gone. So at the end of this season, we actually finished up 8-9, which I can't be too upset about. So things went decently well. Like I said, I didn't expect to be in the playoffs this year, but I thought we'd maybe be a lot worse than that. So I guess I'll kind of take it. But I'm curious to see kind of how, players did. Hopefully we get some development. Looks like we have, because we were starting at like a 79 overall last year. And now it looks like we've gone up to an 83. So that's encouraging, but I'm excited to see that the record was at least decent with Joe Burrow under center as our rookie quarterback, but we'll have to find out based off how everybody did. And we're about to go in this offseason once again with a ton of cap space, so that's encouraging. The 49ers beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl, but offensively 21st in NFL, so not one of the worst offenses in the world. And defensively 25th. So 30 touchdowns, 17 interceptions from Jalen Burrow. Can't be too upset with that. 934 yards and 8 touchdowns from Connor, 300 yards from Jalen Burrow, and then 5 touchdowns from Trey Benson. Unfortunately, as much as I like James Conner and I think he's a dog in real life, we probably have to move on from him here in Madden because his overall just does not reflect on how good he is. Marvin Harrison, though, an incredible season, which is what we wanted. Trey McBride gets the end zone 4 times this year, which is cool too. Wilson, not a bad wide receiver too, and then Atwell ended up being solid as well with 622 yards. So very happy with what I've seen there. Zaven Collins, 11.5, 6.5 from Baron Browning, 5.5 from AJ, 3.5 from Shamar Stewart, 2.5 from Stills, 1.5 from Wilson. Did we get anything out of Tyree Wilson? Probably not. Yeah, so we only had 4 tackles in total, so not a whole lot going on there. But I'm encouraged by this season at the very least. It seems like Marvin Harrison, Joe Burrow had a connection, which is good. So now we can just get in the resigning stage and continue to build this team up. And I honestly think we could be a playoff team next year if we play our cards right. So let's go see who needs to be resigned first and foremost. So Trey McBride, I mean, that's a no-brainer. You definitely bring him back. So let's just offer him a contract right now. We can't let this guy go out at all. The fact that he's a star development player still is criminal. Jalen Thompson, same thing. We got to keep him. Tyree Wilson, probably going to have to decline that 5th-year option. Jonah Williams will let go. He wasn't even playing for us. And then, yeah, so Jalen Thompson's the only other one that I'm like, obviously wanting to keep. We did draft Rod Moore, but with Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson, I want to keep those two together. So that gives us $100 million in cap space to work with going into the offseason. So that should give us some ability to build this roster up really well, as long as there's good free agents to acquire. You know, sometimes it's hit or miss the free agency period, unfortunately, but $101 million in cap space to work with. Can't be too upset with that. So let's take a look to see what we're going to do here. So James Conner is gone. I don't know if he was in there resigning somewhere and I just didn't see him, but he is gone. So that's interesting. But overall, the only thing on the offense to me is clearly a running, or no, he's down to a holy crap 69 overall. This man regressed that much. That's insane. Damn, bro. Madden does James Conner freaking dirty. I understand running backs fall off after 31, but the fact that he fell off that hard is crazy. But all right, what can you do? Nothing I can really do about it now. All right, with that all being said, offensive line, right guard, the guard position specifically is our main problem. I mean, getting a tackle, moving Willis inside wouldn't be the worst thing to do either. Defensively, a lot of things to like here. Everett went up to NAD overall, which you can't be too upset about, but I still think we need a corner one, a D tackle as well too. So let's go ahead and see what we can acquire in free agency with $100 million in cap space. Hopefully there's some good free agents to take here. So we've made 5 offers here in free agency, and as always, it's not the best free agency class. We're going after one of the best kickers in the NFL, if not the best kicker at this moment, Brandon Aubrey. Kendall Fuller is also our corner target. He's not the most ideal corner one, in my opinion, but he is the best one sitting here in free agency. Braden Smith, Rashad White to get our new running back, and Deontay Wyatt as our new D tackle. So we can get all 5 of these guys. That'd be great. I'm assuming we may not get Kendall Fuller, and we do get him. So we actually do get Kendall Fuller to sign with us. So that gives us some more room at the cornerback position. So that feels pretty good to have acquired all those guys through free agency. So that makes our roster that much better. So I'm excited about that. So let's take a look at it now. So Willis is going to move inside now. So he's going to move to right guard right now. So let's go ahead and do that at this moment. So he'll be our brand new guard while Braden Smith stays on the outside. This will allow Willis to, maybe go up an overall. Hopefully that'd be ideal, but we'll find out. So Willis is going to go up to hopefully an overall there at the guard position. So he is going to be a 78 there, which is nice. So offensive line looks pretty solid. Rashad White's our brand new running back with Trey Benson, Marvin Harrison, Tutu Atwell, Michael Wilson. Once again, I really regret not taking one of those running backs on the board when we were there. Hampton was there. Henderson was there. It would have been nice to take one of those guys, but we fumbled the bag. Deontay Wyatt's a really nice addition. Shamar Stewart, Murphy Bundy, Kendall Fuller, Everett. Yeah, overall, pretty happy with what this lineup is looking like. If we can add more pieces to the draft, maybe we can make the playoffs next year. So let's go ahead and get straight into the draft to do just that. So once again, a mid-round pick, of course, that's usually kind of what happens when you're, going 8-9, 9-8, and stuff like that. So I'm not looking for anything specific here. If we can just ideally get the best player available, I think that's kind of the best position to be in. So if that means Kendrick Fulker at Auburn, you do it. We could take a tackle as well. We could take a corner. I'm not totally okay. So we can take a middle linebacker too. A lot of different options here. Do we want to take Folk? I actually don't mind taking York out of Texas A&M. So I think this is gonna be our first pick here in our first round picks. We're gonna take Torian York to start things off. I do think we maybe could use an upgrade there. So he's hitting dev. Hopefully he ends up turning up and being really good for us. I'm really happy with that first round pick. We could have taken it in, but I'm really happy with my ends right now. Shamar Stewart and AJ is solid enough to me that I was fine with passing on one of them. So Miller Moss is here out of USC, who I think transferred, if I'm not mistaken. We can take a running back. We can take a strong safety, which I would not mind more strong safety depth. You have Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU, Etienne Harmon. So a lot of different options. Do we want to take a D tackle depth, or do we want to take strong safety depth is the question. So Jalen Kilgore out of Southern Carolina. I do think we're going to take Kilgore to back up Budda Baker. Budda Baker ain't going to be here forever, so you can kind of learn behind him. And he's going to be hitting dev as well. So I feel pretty solid with that selection. So far, so good in this draft, in my opinion. D-tackle depth would have been cool too. But I'm feeling good about what we've done thus far. So now, with our last pick in this draft in the 3rd round, we have Nussmeier still on the board. We got McAllister out of TCU. A corner, on right corner, and then left tackle. Okay. We also have Jam Miller out of Alabama. I'm curious about McAllister out of TCU to be... Oh, no, I'm not. F catching? How could it be a wide receiver and have F catching? That is not good. Okay. Colin Wright, or do we want to take... We could take him at a linebacker, but I don't think that's the best thing to do because we do have... I forget who we have there, but he's got F pursuit, B zone. So to me, I think we'd take one of the corners. So Colin Wright out of Stanford. Neither doesn't really look that good either. So what do we do? I don't want to take a tackle, to be honest with you. Center, I guess, is interesting. Connor Tolson on Missouri. Yeah, sure. We'll take a center, I guess, and that will be our last pick. Wow, that was bad as hell. Yeah, let me never draft again. All right, well, I'm just going to get out of here because that was not a great pick at all. I really fumbled the bag there. But in my defense, a lot of those players did not look that great in the end of round 3. But overall, I think we've done enough to get us in the playoffs next year, and hopefully that's what works out going into next season. So here's the lineup going into season number 3. The offense really doesn't change that much. The only thing we obviously did is we added Braden Smith, and Willis has moved to right guard. Rachaad White's our brand new running back in the building. Wide receivers are still the same. Defensively, though, obviously we've added York, and also they drafted us Pena as well, and we also added Kilgore. So that's kind of what it looks like on the defense side of football. Signed Deontay White in free agency overall, and also got Kendall Fuller. Can't forget about that. But all right. So in year 3 with the expectations of hopefully making the playoffs. We'll find out if that ends up being the case. I do think we have enough of a good roster to do so. It's just kind of all about how Milroe does in year 2. But I do have the expectation that we will make the playoffs this year and be competitive. I don't know if we'll win the Super Bowl, but I think making the playoffs is definitely realistic this year. We'll see if that happens, though. So at the end of the season, we do, in fact, make the playoffs at 10-7, and we also won the division, which is nice to see. I'm looking at the yardage, though, and maybe it's not as great as I would have wanted to see. So let's see how the yards tailed out, because offensively, we're 22nd in the NFL. Marvin Harrison was really good last year, but I think I saw he only had 600 yards this year. Is that correct? 31 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Rachaad White, 4 touchdowns and 1,100 yards, 300 from Trey Benson and 300 from Milroe. Yeah, Marvin Harrison, only 700 yards, only 600 from Tutu Atwell, only 600 from Trey McBride, and Michael Wilson, 9 touchdowns. So really, obviously, big fall off from what we saw last year. So I thought we'd see kind of a similar trend of last year. He finished with like 1,300 yards or something like that. But unfortunately this year, I mean, still had 9 touchdowns, which is good, but overall kind of disappointed what we've seen out of him. 8 sacks from Baron Browning, 5 from Deontay White, 3.5 from Zaven Collins, 3.5 from Jamar Stewart, and then he had 4 interceptions from Mack Wilson, 3 from Fuller, and 2 from Budda Baker. But we are playing the Minnesota Vikings in round 1. So let's go ahead, jump in, and see if we can beat the Vikings in round 1 to advance further in these playoffs. Let's find out. So it looks like the Vikings still have Sam Darnold here. So let's go ahead and see if we can win our very first playoff game with Jalen Milroe as a starting quarterback. As we get a stop on defense to start things off, and we will go up 7-0. So far, a good start. And we are going to continue to get stops on defense. It looked like we could have gotten a field goal there, but we didn't. And now the Vikings will tie it up. They actually missed the extra point. So if we go score here, this could be interesting. 6-14, and we get a stop. I don't think they're going to get the ball back here. I think we won this game. We did. So just like that, wildcard weekend debut with Jalen Milroe, he wins his first playoff game as the Vikings only put up 6 points, which is just, asinine if you think about the Vikings right now. Obviously, this is 3 years in the future, so maybe they lost some talent, but they still have Justin Jefferson, Addison, I assume, as well. So very, very bad for them to only put up 6 points, but hey, we'll take it. We're moving on to the divisional weekend, and we'll take the playoff experience. I don't know if we're going to go to the Super Bowl, but hey, winning a playoff game is always good, so we'll take it. And now we head onto the road to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Baker Mayfield versus Jalen Milroe in the divisional rounds. Let's see if we can get another victory here on the road. So we will start off with an interception from Kendall Fuller, and they tied it very quickly, 7-7. But we will respond with another touchdown. It's 14-7 thus far. We're going to go up 17-7. So far, this is looking good. Now, did I expect us to even remotely sniff the NFC Championship this year? To be honest, no, not at all. But we might be in there. 31-13, and yeah, we're going to beat the Bucs, man. We're moving on to the NFC Championship just like that. Pretty shocked by that, but you know what? We're going to keep being happy about winning playoff games, and we're going to go see we'd, play off against the NFC Championship. Joe Milroe continues to impress, put up 34 in this one. We only put up 14 in the last game, which was good enough, but we'll see who we see in the NFC Championship. I can only assume it'll be probably a fellow Birds team, as we all know. So it's actually not a fellow bird team. I obviously thought it was going to be the Eagles. Instead, it's the Green Bay Packers, which is another team I often see, as they will go up 7-0. But we will respond with a touchdown as well. We get an interception from Sean Murphy Bunting. We capitalize? Yes, we do. 14-7. Another interception. Jordan Love is throwing interceptions to us, and we're scoring off them, which is good. And now we're up 28-7. 28-14. This could be a miraculous run that I did not see coming. It's a 2-possession game. And just like that, we're headed to the Super Bowl in year 3 with Milroe as a second-year starter. Honestly, did not think we were good enough to do so, but I won't complain. 3 touchdowns, 258 yards, 81% completion in this game. Jordan Love obviously threw us a couple gifts, and we capitalized on them to ultimately lead us to the Super Bowl. So let's go see who we play in the Super Bowl. So out of all the teams I thought we could be matching up against here in the Super Bowl, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, Colts was not on my list. I did not think we'd be seeing Indy here of all teams, but here we are. So Indianapolis Colts, Cardinals, Super Bowl. Very weird, but hopefully we can come out here and beat the Colts to get a Super Bowl here. So we threw, I don't know what happened. Yeah, we threw an interception, which sucked because it looked like we were driving downfield. But we get an interception back. This time in better field position. We're up 14-7. It's a very interesting game this far, but they will tie it. It's 14-14 with 4 minutes left on the game clock. Let's come out here and soak this game away and take advantage of winning this game. So we're going to put on Chew Clock. Ooh, I love them pressing Marvin Harrison. You want to press Marvin Harrison? I dare you to take that safety away. He's not there. You can't do that. What are we doing? We're going to take that night and day. 1 play touchdown. That was easy. I mean, that was way too easy. Easy look. Obviously, I was going to take advantage of that, and we get the ball back. Let's score again on them. If they want to play press and Marvin Harrison, they're psychos for it, and we will take it. So 21-14, we get the ball here. If we score again, this game is more than likely over. Going to hand it off to Rachaad White, and we're going to get 3 yards off that. So it hasn't been very efficient on the ground here, but we'll continue to probably feed him. They're not coming up on Marvin Harrison again, so obviously we have on Chew Clock, so I have to keep that in mind. We do have Rachaad White for a first down. It looked like that ball was about to be sailed, but we'll take the first down. Had him on the flat route, so we'll absolutely take that. But let's get to the 2-minute warning. So 2-minute warning, 21-14. All we need to do is pretty much score again, and this game is looking close to over. So now we're going to be handing this off to Trey Benson, it looks like. So let's do that. Trey Benson, 3 yards, we'll take it. The Colts, oh yeah, we can just drain this clock now. We can just hand this off and be done with it. 1:57 left on the clock. We get a first down. This game is likely over. So let's see. That's going to be stuffed. Okay. 3rd and 6. I'm going to be aggressive this time. We are going to hand it off. Or not hand it off. We're not going to hand it off. We're going to throw this ball. So let's see what we like. Do we like anything here? We're going to go backs cross. And we're going to look for Benson Rachaad White underneath to get a first down. Marvin Harrison is on a comeback route. And we also have Milroe's legs to use as well. But I think, oh my goodness, can I get away? Yes, we can. That is going to be your ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Milroe's going to seal the Super Bowl for us. Very easy. And now we can just kneel this bad boy out. So that is a magical season. Honestly, did not think we had the talent level to do it. But Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Milroe, we get it done. Trade Kyler Murray and are very successful in our attempt to rebuild the team as we get this team all the way to the Super Bowl to get themselves a Lombardi trophy. Honestly, kind of had a weird bracket. We played, obviously, the Packers wasn't too weird. We played who did we play in round 1 again? I already forgot we played in round 1, to be honest with you. But seeing the Colts in the Super Bowl was very bizarre. We played the Vikings, that's right. We beat them 14-6, and then obviously beat the Bucks, and then we didn't play like any powerhouses. We didn't play the Eagles. Packers, I guess you can say, are pretty good in Madden, so we'll definitely, obviously, not take that away. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all in the next one. If you want to watch a Lombardi celebration, you can watch it. I'll leave it in, but I'm going to end it there. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.